Okay, I am intimidated by this one because not because it's particularly hard, but because I have a lot to say and I'm not sure exactly the right order to say it in. But let's just dive right in. So in a case like this where all these guys are racing down the road, I would actually probably animate the environment so that all I have to do is like animate these guys wiggling a little bit as opposed to like wiggling and also moving all this way down there. But I feel like that wouldn't really demonstrate the average animation case, but it is a nice if you can get rid of a big distance that's being moved, because then you're always like scrolling around and having to recenter and all of that, and just keep everything so you're just animating the relative motion between each other. That makes life a lot easier. But let's do it the normal way, just the one size fits all type situation. So you hit I, location, add your keyframe. I'm gonna go a bit later. We can always tweak it if we're going too fast or too slow, and add another keyframe. I like adding the first and last keyframes first, just because it's a lot easier to keep a consistent camera speed if you're mostly just varying, where it's going left and right, as opposed to like just adding keyframes, scooting it forwards. You'll have a camera that's going fast sometimes and slow and all of that, and this just helps keep it going kind of linear. I'm gonna hit V vector, and that makes it so it's going the same speed the whole time. Otherwise, it slows down, and if you use that in an edit, it's going to be weird in a chase scene if at the end of every shot everybody's slowing to a stop. V vector, there we go. Cool. So a couple other things. It's very, very useful to think of how this camera is actually being animated in real life, because animation is a balance of physics and intention. Like if you look at a character and he's running around and emoting and all of that, he's trying to get things, he's trying to do things, his body language is saying things, but at the same time there's the equal and opposite reaction every time he moves a body part. He has to keep his feet under his center of gravity, all of that stuff, and it's the exact same with everything, but also with whoever's operating the camera. The camera has physics also, and that is going to help you animate. A lot of times we just animate the camera and we add a little noise modifier on it, and we go, look at that, we fully captured the human experience of operating a camera with this noise modifier. And honestly, a lot of times that can get you a long ways there. There's so many little random things happening that effectively it can just be random. But the more work you put behind the camera, the better the results will be. In fact, so in a case like this, they would probably have a little remote control cart with like a little camera on like a remote control gimbal, so they're actually just able to weave it in between. I think that's how they did like some shots on the Matrix freeway chase or whatever. Or a lot of times they'll actually have a crane arm in the back of a truck with a camera mounted on it, so they can swing the camera around, really dynamically. They can get it really close to the ground and all of that, without having to have a camera person physically whoa doing all of that, or just mounting the camera on a bumper. These days, like GoPros and stuff are good enough that they can kind of get away with like mounting a GoPro on a bumper, just getting a bunch of different angles all at the same time. And if a GoPro gets crunched, that just is part of the budget. But speaking of shooting things like in a city type environment, they'll do stuff to make it feel as if the camera's moving faster. For example, if you're up here and the camera's like do, even if you're going it'll feel kind of slow. Whereas if you are down here in the action, it feels a lot faster. The other very important thing being the focal length. If you zoom in here, it feels like you're going kind of slow, and then all we're going to do is widen this up, and suddenly it feels like we're going a lot faster, even though we're going the same speed. And that's just a useful thing to know, I think. So I might actually, I'm obviously going to keep it pretty darn wide here. In terms of making animation feel rewarding, it's all about kind of like a preservation of momentum and anticipation and payoff. And if you've ever seen any martial arts movie behind the scenes, they'll always be talking about rhythm and all of that, like wah pa 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 pa. There should be kind of like a syncopation to it that you can kind of feel, and that helps with the anticipation, and that helps with like the viewer experience. again, I'm not a great animator, but if you watch this shot right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it kind of has that like that beat to it. And the parts that don't happen on the beat actually feel as if they're like a little bit slow or a little bit fast. This actually is a thing that like the audience can feel, and that's one of the things where like once you lock in the original keyframes, you just start reiteratively tweaking stuff until you can really feel those moments. So let's see how this goes. I want this guy to be going also. I want him actually moving faster than the camera. I want the camera to be kind of chasing him because, you know, this means he's moving, and so I want him moving not just in the scene but also relative to the camera to really make it feel like he's going fast. So let's see. Let's start here. Let's have him going right here. You guys are gonna see now in every shot I release that I just do the same thing over and over. Always. Cool, so I think at the end here, what I want is for him to have kind of a motion path through here, like, woo, 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 which again is almost exactly the shot I just showed you, but that's okay. Okay, so there's this last one, vector, and which axis here is, oh, there's his rotation, that's nice. Okay, cool, so let's just animate the x-axis really quick and make sure that he's not going to be hitting any of these other bikes. Okay, so he just can kind of cut all the way through there. His momentum is going to have him kind of overshoot a little bit, and then he's going to cut through there. Oh. Nope, we're going to pull it back a little bit, because I want him to be able to weave. Okay, and I want a lot of the feeling of this is I want the motion to be like you really feel him kind of fighting the inertia to the left and right, because that's most of the physics at play. Like him going forwards is just him going forwards. So I really want to try to like dial that in. So maybe right here, like we kind of see him. Whew. Yeah, and what I want to get here obviously is just that feeling of wow. You might think it's I'm a dork for doing all the hand motions and the sound effects, but you got it, because that's how you feel it. It's the exact same thing as like when you're running around with like your toy jets as a kid, kind of like you're trying to capture that feeling. So let's see. Whoa. Yeah, and I wanna. It's all about inertia. Woo. Wow. That's kind of intense, but at least you can feel it, you know? Okay. So now that this is locked in, I'm going to actually set up these other guys so that they are kind of close. And actually, I think I will do the thing I was talking about. Location here, and then another one here. Just keep it going real fast. The vector, and maybe I should do the same thing with these other guys. No, I guess I don't have to. They're good. So now everybody's racing down the road. Whoa, yeah. So another way to get that anticipation is to show him leaning before he actually moves. Yeah, there's the axis we want. So right here, he's about to go to the right. So I want him to just be really, really leaning. Especially with action stuff where the keyframes can be going, you know, way off into the graph editor. If you click normalize, that's going to just snap everything to be normalized between, ideally, like, I guess it's just -1 and 1. and that can really help you from having to hunt everywhere for the keyframes. But it also makes things kind of weird, because if you do this, it will always normalize, so it can be a little bit harder to visualize what's going on. Whoa! Okay, and before he reaches the far point to the right, he's going to be trying to bring it back. So let's lean too far that way. And this is where you look at it and you go, huh, this is kind of bad. But it isn't. It isn't actually. It just hasn't been refined yet. So right here, he's leaning far too long, so we want him to be starting to come back the other way far sooner. And same thing with this right here. We want him to be kind of balancing out. Whoa. And this is just what a lot of it is. Although I guess I said this was going to be a camera animation tutorial, not a motorcycle animation tutorial, but they kind of go hand in hand, don't they? So it's looking pretty bad. Like, you could fix it, and that's the thing I know is, like, I just keep, if I just keep kind of dialing it in and softening stuff up and figuring stuff out, it would why does it just, you can see it kind of just goes chunk, and I actually don't know why that is, because this all looks like it's fairly smooth. Okay, well, let's animate the camera a little bit more now, and so I'm gonna lower the camera even more, just to keep it really dynamic, and I'm gonna have it weave a little. I want it to kind of swing in right here to pass with him past this bike. So let's see. So I'm gonna speed up the camera just a little bit here, so that we're with him. And then, yeah, we'll just be right in the middle here. I think I'll want to swing in from all the way over here. So we'll kind of be looking at him. Whoa, yeah. And then, where should we go? I like him passing like this. I think that's kind of cool. So maybe we'll try to just embrace that. Goes this way, and then when he goes the other way, we'll be zipping the other way. Can we even go on the other side of this bike here? We can, but we don't really get to see. We don't see him. Maybe we'll just pull this bike back. Oh, yeah, it makes sense. We go through this guy. Okay, so now we get to do the fun part, which is the rotation. And I like the rotation because that's where you actually get to be like a human for a little bit. Like, okay, I'd probably, if I were filming this shot, I'd start looking up here, and I like to animate. Human reactions are only so quick, and so there's a fraction of a second between something happening and being able to rotate the camera to catch it. And so I like to go in like 15 frame chunks or whatever, and then update the camera, just because that kind of simulates that lack of, like, I don't know, it's a good way to kind of make things rough, of like, oh, he's over here now. And so we'll see how that goes. Insert rotation, go forwards. Oh yeah, now we're up here. Actually, once he gets ahead of us, there isn't all that much to see. But let's see how this goes. Huh. This bit here, because now the rotation is tracking him, it kind of gets rid of that feeling of speed, because he's like he's staying fairly stationary in the frame. Like, I like this bit, whoosh, but I want to be able to ease into it. So maybe what I'll do is I will, right now he's very linear along that axis. I might add a keyframe, only selected channels, and just have him kind of enter the shot from back here. And we'll just see how this works. Ooh, whoa, it might be too much. Yeah, that's pretty good. The camera should ideally be kind of rotating the same way as him. Again, just to make it feel as if maybe we're on like another motorcycle type rig. Let me where is? Oh, it's a y-axis. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so for right here, should be. Okay, and then you can add that bump. I like adding the bump on the x-axis just because usually that is actually the axis that's being displaced as you're going down a road. It's usually translating sorry, directly up into that as opposed to the y, or I don't know, as opposed to back and forth, which is like usually actually not all that affected. So with this axis selected here, we're going to pull open this tab and we're going to add a modifier. Oh yeah, that's very bumpy. Here, let's just dial this in here. It's usually going to be way too much, so I'm just going to turn it way down. Then I look at it 1,000,000 times. I think will really help is just if he straightens up a little bit faster here when he slows down. So which one is that? That's that one. So I'm just gonna really try to he does that, and that should be when he starts to come back the other way. Woo! Yeah, and that's just one of those parts I was talking about where it's like you just gotta keep tweaking it until it kind of feels good. You don't want him leaning, too long before, but you don't want him leaning too long after. You don't want him to like be like chink chink chink. So it's just you watch it, you see the parts you don't like, and you try to make it not do that. Okay, let's add a couple secondary things here. Like now that we know his path, we can add like other things happening, and as long as they don't intersect him, it'll just make it feel more exciting. So let's have this guy kind of move off that way, and he'll kind of start like over there. Whoa, yeah. Let's have this keep. Okay, I'm jumping back over to the camera. Let's make this smaller and less intense. Just want it to be kind of like a bump. And in fact, this whole shot is maybe too fast. So I might just like select everything and turn off. Yeah, you can decide if you want to turn off auto snap or not. I'm gonna try just scaling it up 1.5 and see what that does. There we go. This feels more real, doesn't it? She feels like we could be chasing like an actual person. Something about this motion here is not totally great, but I think that's okay. So that's a lot of it, honestly. There's a lot of stuff we could do to fix it, and like one thing that would probably make a lot of sense is to actually like rig up this guy so that his upper body could, you know, be leaning too. Like he leans, then the truck leans. The truck? The motorcycle. Another thing would be to like add a nice big tail light in here, not to get too Akira, but just because having that red point of reference will kind of really help sell that motion, and a lot of it really is just trying to convey that feeling of like swoosh swoosh. So let's see here, viewport display. Oh, did I add a new? Oh yeah, of course. New. Assign red. I was like typing the word red because you can type it with only your left hand. Wow. So I think that these keyframes are kind of weird. I think if I smooth them out, a lot of these might work a little better. In fact, that whole snap, I want the camera swinging a lot too. Maybe I'll even... I like a pendulum because a pendulum implies there's stored energy, kind of like woo, and you're like, oh, but it's coming back, woo. Even if it doesn't really match up to any particular camera rigs. And so I'm gonna try that here. When it gets to the left, I'm gonna elevate it a little bit, change it to automatic. Up, and then over here I'm also gonna have it be up, and just in between here as it's swinging I'm gonna bring it way down. These keyframes are not doing what I expect. Whoa, that didn't seem to do much. Well, I can't. I select the handle that I want. Let me select the handle. Let me select the handle. Why is this being weird now? What? Oh, okay. I guess it was in a handle type that was not automatic. That explains so many of my woes. Okay, so it goes that way. And we kind of swing. Yeah, I guess it's a little subtle, but. But I think it's kind of cool. Then we pop back up over here. Whoa! We fly through the wall. And here, I might actually try to echo that pendulum feeling a little bit in the rotation. And then when we get to the other side here, we'll be leaning the other way. Get rid of these guys. Whoa. Oh, now that's finding something interesting, just because now we're leaning the opposite direction of him. I like that. Let's make that a lot more, actually. The thing that is bothering me is just that this swoop feels a little bit slow. Like I wish it were faster. And we have enough keyframes here going that maybe it's dangerous to play with this. But let's see what happens if we do. Okay, there's that. Just try to line it all up here. Hey, that didn't ruin things. That's great. I mean, the shot should end, like, here. In fact, what makes it so that it, Oh, it's because the bike. The bike stops moving. So we just extend the bike, and the shot should be fine for a couple more frames. Sweet. So I guess if I could say some stuff, final messages. You can see a lot of this isn't. First, this isn't great. Like, ideally, I would spend more time on this, and it's also there's kind of a random seed element of, like, you start animating. Sometimes it works just right off the bat, and you go, "Ooh, I nailed it!" And other times you just have to keep reiteratively finding it. But hopefully, this kind of like is some sort of demonstration of stuff. Oh, but you can see that it isn't all about just like camera shake, like, oh, we need things to be really chaotic. This is actually a fairly clean camera move, and it's all just about trying to convey the things that we're trying to convey. And so yeah, we'll see if I record this. My brain is a little bit scattered right now. I think you can tell. But this is well, maybe I'll just upload this one too. Guys, I think something went wrong. Oh.
All right, you jerks ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Man, I love your dad's new hairdo. He looks so hip and young again. I think that we could be friends for a while. He would sit by me and smile, say your twin died in the woods, how your pet cat nearly killed you. Man, I love your dad's new hairdo. He looks so hip and young again. I think that we could be friends for a while. He would sit by me and smile, say your twin died in the womb, how your pet cat nearly killed you.
Yeah, I remember. 12 years old, I was at a sleepover. Your dad was there. He was the nicest one. He said he wished I could be his son. Not replacing you, I'd just be supplemental. Two brothers combined, spirits elemental. The ultimate brothers with the ultimate dad. The dream of a life that I could have had. That dream is dead, but my life moves on. Forgive me, Father, I have done wrong. Forgive me, Father, for I failed to try. Forgive me, Father, and go bye-bye.
All right, you jerks.
What?
All right, you jerks ready?
Oh no!
Yeah.
It's happening again!